Hi everyone, Jai Hind and welcome to the platform of Study IQ IAS in English. My name is Bhavar Singh Surya. I'm ex-India 115th course and qualified civil services. And in today's session, we'll be discussing whether it is the end of the PIL era or has the PIL or the public interest litigation, they have outlived its utility. So that would be the complete gist of the complete session. Over here, what is the major issue is, so there is a verdict, or there is not verdict actually, there is a review that is going on in Supreme Court right now. The review is in front of 9 judges bench, and ultimately this 9 judges bench is hearing the various petitions, near about more than 50 petitions which had been filed to challenge the Sabarimala judgment that came in 2018, which allowed the women to enter the Ayyappa temple in Sabarimala who are aged between 10 to 50 years, who were not permitted to enter the temple at that point of time. Now, when it comes to this judgment, what has happened recently is that the center, through the Solicitor General, they have urged that there should be a complete removal of the PIL or the public interest litigation as a constitutional device. Over here, the center have argued that the PILs, they have become a vehicle for the agenda-driven litigation by interloper with no personal stake in the matter. At the same time, CJI or the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Suryakant, he noted that the courts are already cautious while allowing the PILs or the public interest litigations, stating notices are now issued only when there is a genuine substance that is there. So that is why this topic is important to understand, that what are PILs and ultimately what is the core conflict over here. The core conflict while dealing with the PILs, or why this arguments or these arguments they occurred, it was because, like I said, that the Sabarimala original petitions which were filed before the Supreme Court, they had been filed by an association of non-devotees. Alright, they are non-devotees who have filed the review petition, and ultimately that triggered the debate on whether the outsiders, they can challenge the internal religious customs or not. And that is why over here the center have argued that the PILs must be completely, they should be disallowed or they should be done away. Now, when it comes to the PILs or the public interest litigation, there are 2 judges which are very important to remember, and that is Justice P.N. Bhagwati and Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer. Both of them, they have pioneered while admitting the public interest litigation into the complete judicial system. Now, when it comes to the PIL or the public interest litigation that had been defined by the Supreme Court in the case of SP Gupta versus Union of India, and this is also called as the first judge's case in 1981. So generally it is thought that this is the first case. This is the first judge's case and the first case that was heard on the basis of the PIL. Alright, now when it comes to the PIL, so under PIL, any person can file a public case by filing a petition. And this petition, it can be simply on a piece of paper that could be sent in the form of letter to the Supreme Court. It may be in the form of email. It may be in the form of even a postcard. And that could be filed by any citizen of India while he is filing the petition. Alright, and this is under the Article 32 while he is filing for the Indian in the Supreme Court. It is under Article 226 when he is filing in the High Court, and it comes under Article, or not Article, under Section 133 of the CRPC or Criminal Procedure Code when he is filing in the Court of the Magistrate. Now, a PIL, it can be filed against any public body. Alright, a PIL can be filed against a public body, it can be filed against any public authority, but a PIL or public interest litigation cannot be filed against a private individual. Please remember this. Now, when it comes to the subject matters which could be included in filing or while filing for the public interest litigation, so there are bonded labor matters, there are neglected children, there is exploitation of casual workers, as well as non-payment of minimum wages, or atrocities which are towards women or the deprived section of the society, environmental pollution and disturbances of the ecological nature or balance, and food adulteration, maintenance of the heritage and the culture. So these are the certain subject matters on which the PIL could be filed. But at the same time, please remember, now the Supreme Court have understood that most of the PIL, they are filed for the personal reason, they are filed for the publicity stunts, and that is why if you file any kind of PIL for personal reason or publicity stunts, then they are not altogether entertained in the Supreme Court now. All right, now when it comes to the landmark judgments which had been given by using the PIL, the first and the foremost landmark judgment is the Hussain Ara Khatun versus State of Bihar. This is the first PIL judgment or the case in India that focused upon the inhuman conditions of the inmates or the prisoners that are there in the Bihar. And ultimately here, the advocate Kapila Hingorani was there, who have pleaded in this case, and therefore she is also known as the mother of PIL. All right. At the same time, another important cases that led to various environment legislations in India is MC Mehta versus Union of India case. All right, in MC Mehta case, Supreme Court have laid down lots of environmental laws and guidelines which had been laid down because of the MC Mehta cases. All right, at the same time, Vishakha versus State of Rajasthan is again very important case because this led to formulation of the guidelines for prevention of sexual harassment at the workplace. And these guidelines, they form the basis of the act later on. At the same time, these guidelines were followed for nearly about 16 years till the time there was not a law that was formulated in India. At the same time, one more important case according to the PIL or in resonance with the PIL was Permanent Katara versus Union of India. Over here, this was laid down that there would be a paramount obligation over all the medical professionals who are related to the medical field, that they will provide, this is an obligation to them, that they will give the medical aid to every citizen of India, irrespective of the various formalities. All right, earlier what used to happen, if there is an accident, so there were lots of formalities. Police charge will be done, police investigation will be done, police has to be present there, and then only the medical aid started. But after this judgment, what happened was, after Permanent Katara versus Union of India, now Supreme Court have said that it is a paramount obligation for the medical professionals that they will give the medical aid irrespective of all the different kind of formalities that has to be done. The first and foremost thing is that medical aid should be provided. Now, when it comes to the various cases or when it comes to the principles of the locus standi, what happens is normally it is locus standi means that a place to stand, or in legal terms it means that if you have the capacity to file a case or not. So when it comes to public interest litigation, that gave away or that did away the principle of the locus standi, because in public interest litigation, even if a person who is himself not aggrieved, he can file a public interest litigation. At the same time, it has determined, when it comes to the principle of locus standi, it determines whether a party has the right to appear before a court or initiate any kind of legal proceedings. So whenever it comes to the individual basis or the individual cases, we know that you have to be yourself present in the case, and then only you can fight your case if you are the aggrieved party. But this principle locus standi, it was done away when the PIL was introduced. So at the same time, there are three principles or the three requirements when you have to judge if a person has the locus standi in the case or not. The first thing is injuria. That is, a legal injury or grievance must be there and it should be established. Okay, the second thing is that there is a causation, that this injury must be directly linked to the defendant's actions. And then the threshold test is also there, that the courts decide the locus standi of a petitioner at the outset before the consideration of the merits of the case. So these are the three important ingredients that determines if a person has a locus standi in a case or not. All right. At the same time, when it comes to the the PIL, All right, so PIL had been very important in the past. They are very important at the present and in the future as well. And they have shaped in the past. If we talk about the focus of the PILs, they were that was on the human rights basically. All right, later on at the present, the focus changed into the governments, and at the same time, along with the governance, over onto the environment as well. And then in the future, we will see that if we will move forward towards the verified and credentialized litigation, where the PIL will be it will be introduced only after it passes certain benchmarks that will be set by the Supreme Court of India. So ultimately, when it comes to the PIL or the public interest litigation, we have to understand that balancing the judicial restraint with the constitutional morality is the key towards the 21st century Indian jurisprudence that is required. So that would be all in today's session. I hope that now you have a complete understanding of the PIL or public interest litigation. At the same time, they are not going away. And as the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Suryakant ji, he said that the PIL, they will stay. So of course they will stay, and they are not going away very soon, because they are the instrument through which the aggrieved section of the society, especially the marginalized, especially those who are deprived of their benefits and the rights, they can move in front of the courts and they can ask for the rights or for their benefits which they are not given. So that would be all. But before moving ahead and saying bye-bye, so you can join me on my Telegram channel. This is my Telegram channel, Bhawar at the rate Bhawar, BHANWAR _study IQ. Or alternatively, you can also scan the QR code to join me on the Telegram channel, where you will have regular updates about the sessions. You will have all the PDFs that would be compiled and will be sent over here. So you can join me on my Telegram channel. And at the same time, do not forget to like, share, as well as subscribe to this video, and share this video and subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of the future updates. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind. Thank you.